What's up, gamers? Today I wanted to talk a bit about Demon Souls and why it's kind of overrated. So, for the last week, I've been playing through Demon Souls, and I gotta say, it is an interesting game. It is by far probably one of my least favorite Souls likes that I've ever played. I think the only one it kind of competes with for like the last spot is Dark Souls 2, but that's just because I generally don't like that game, and it might just be a percent above that. So the first thing I want to go over is definitely the graphics. The graphics of the game are great. The game looks awesome. I love the atmosphere and all that. Even though I've seen a video where it goes over how it's not like the original design and like certain enemies don't look like they're supposed to and all that, I don't really care about that as long as the game actually looks pretty cool. And I enjoyed the look of almost everything. I would love to see Bloodborne get the same type of remaster or remake because that game definitely needs it, and if they can somehow make it look as good as Demon Souls, I would love to see that. Like everything when I was playing through the game looked good. I don't think there was like any type of issue I had with anything. Like most of the enemies looked awesome. The bosses were really cool. Like one of my favorite bosses definitely was this weird one that had like a machete stuck in his stomach and like an eagle or golden eagle like above him flying around. It was really cool. It's stuff that you don't expect, but it just looks amazing. And like weirdly enough, with like the fatter guys, they have like jiggle physics and stuff. It's funny, and I just love how like those little small details you can notice when you're hitting the enemy. Another thing I really enjoyed about the game was definitely the music. It made the atmosphere and like everything around it feel like you're there. Like when you go to this one prison area, a lot of people complained about that place as well because you could hear someone singing, and I guess the original you could only hear them singing when you got close to them. But I honestly like the music when you can actually just hear it while you're walking around. I kind of get what they are agitated about because the prison area was supposed to be a lot more scary, so there's not really that much noise. It's kind of just like flies and stuff flying around, so like all you can hear is just like a little buzzing and then just like screams and stuff, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, I really do like the music design, and I love that they added I guess a lullaby, I think it's for the end of the game, into that area so you can actually listen to something while you're walking around. But aside from that song, every other song that I at least heard, most of the time I don't really notice it because usually I'm concentrating on not trying to get my ass whooped, but the music was just good. I don't think I had an issue with like any songs in the game. It just all sounded really nice. Like, don't get me wrong, if I had to pick a different soundtrack, I would definitely pick Dark Souls 3 or Sekiro, I think had some pretty good music if I'm remembering right. But yeah, like it's definitely not the best out of like all their games, but it was still really sounded nice. Now let's get into one of the negatives I have for the game. It's definitely the bosses. Even though I love the look of most of the bosses, the game is really easy and it kind of feels handholdy, even though it's not. And it might just be because I played all the other Souls games. Like Bloodborne, I just started up, and it's already even more challenging than Demon Souls, even right off the bat. Like I had more challenges with Bloodborne's first boss than I think every single boss in Demon Souls, which is crazy to me because that's really disappointing in my eyes because I look at these games for challenges, and if there isn't really a challenge, it kind of drags me away from the interest towards it. And I know most people will say, yeah, it is the first game, so you can't really expect much. And I agree, but even in a remake or remaster or whatever it was, I would expect a bit more of like a spice up, at least on some of the enemies, aside from just a graphical update. I don't know. Even the last boss, I beat him on the first try, which is really disappointing because at least you would hope that they would be somewhat challenging, but I was really disappointed. And even after the last boss, you have like a little mini thing that you kill, and I was really disappointed because you would expect that there would be at least some type of challenge. Even the phantoms that spawn in had more challenge than the actual bosses in the game, which is crazy to me because the phantoms aren't actually bosses. They're just like NPCs that you can decide to fight if you want to. Like most of the time when I was fighting a phantom, they would one-shot me. A boss maybe 5 to 6 shots me, which is kind of crazy to think about. And I think it might be another issue is because you don't really have flasks in this game. You can just use these plants, and you pretty much can have an unlimited amount depending on how you build your inventory. But speaking on the topic of inventory, I absolutely hate the inventory system in this game. It is actually atrocious. I don't understand who decided it should be this way, but pretty much you have like a over encumbered system. They never had this in any other Souls game, so I was kind of like thrown off a bit when I found out that I can only hold certain amount of stuff in my inventory while I'm walking around. Like, I understood the you can only use these weapons or wear this armor, and you'll end up being too heavy if you don't upgrade your endurance or something. I get that stuff, but the inventory part where like I can't just have a whole bunch of stuff just sitting in my inventory is kind of annoying, because multiple times in the game I had to go back to the sanctuary and, you know, switch out my stuff, and I don't want to do that every time I have like a issue with the boss and I'm like, oh, I need to go back and I need to grab fire oil because I don't have it in my inventory because I had to leave some space for this, or I had to leave some space for that. It's so annoying. I don't understand who decided it should be this way, and I wish they would have kind of fixed that, but they decided to keep the inventory system where you literally had to go back to the person. At least at some point you can like send stuff to your storage. That's convenient, but you can't do it. Like, you have to go back to grab stuff from the storage. So it's kind of just like meaningless. Like, no matter what, you have to go back to talk to this dude, and I just hated it. I don't know, and it felt like the inventory system, like inventory was too small, and it was kind of annoying because it kind of forced you to upgrade your endurance multiple times just so you can have more inventory space, and I just don't want to do that. So the next thing I want to talk about is definitely the worst thing about the game. It is world tendency. World tendency is by far one of the worst systems I've ever seen in a game. So if you don't know what that is, it's there's a pure white and a pure black tendency, and both give you different items depending on which one you're on. So to get pure white, all you have to pretty much do is either kill all the bosses in an area or play PvP online. I'm pretty sure you have to be an assist support for another player for pure white. So pretty much the reason why this system sucks is anytime you kill a boss and you become human, you have to go back to the Nexus and kill yourself just so you don't mess up the pure tendency of your world, which is really fucking annoying, and it shouldn't be a system that's in the game. So if you do it, at least you get good items, but I don't understand why it's set up this way. And it's the same thing with pure black. Pure black tendency is the same way, where you have to get human form instead, and you have to kill yourself on the map that you're trying to turn into pure black. And the reason why this one is 10 times worse is if you get to pure black tendency, just so you know, before you do anything, do not teleport, or it takes away your pure black tendency and you have to do it again. You have to do the same like loop over and over, and you have to kill yourself like 5 or 6 times to even get pure black in human form. And it's so obnoxious, and I don't know why it's set up this way. I mean, it's cool that you get cool items, and there's certain enemies that you can't fight unless you're in either or tendency, but I hate how it's set up this way, and it's absolutely terrible, and I hope I never see the system again. The last little highlight thing I want to talk about is definitely just the weapons and like the upgrade system with it. So this is kind of like a positive and negative point of the game. The positives is it's pretty simple. Dark Souls 1 had a much more annoying upgrade and repairing system, while Demon Souls seems to have like a more laid back one, and it didn't really bother me as much. The only issue with it was definitely the crafting of boss weapons. It seemed really annoying. I had to look up how to do it exactly. So pretty much what you have to do is you have to level up weapons, and then you can turn that weapon into the boss weapon, which is fine and dandy if the weapons weren't so fucking hard to upgrade. Most of the time you have to sit and kill these lizard looking things like with crystals in them. I forget what the fuck they're called, but once you kill them, they give you some minerals towards your upgrades. While this would be fine and all, but there really isn't that many, and you have to go to set locations for a certain amount, and then you gotta find them, and you have to keep resetting the world so you can keep killing them over and over again, and you only can kill them so many times before they won't respawn. And I guess you can buy them as well, but it's just so annoying and really tedious. But it's definitely just like a positive and negative, and you just have to look at it that way. If you really care about the boss weapons, then it's really annoying, but if you're fine with using whatever, then it's completely fine. But overall, I sadly didn't find that much enjoyment in this game, and if you guys did, that's really good, and I hope you guys actually really liked it. Sadly, for my first time playing through, I just didn't really enjoy it that much, and I'm going to be playing through it a second time and seeing if my thoughts change maybe, but from what I played, it's probably not going to change. But if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and a sub. And if you guys want to have some discourse, make sure to keep it civil. If you want to talk shit on me, that's perfectly fine. Just try to be nice to each other. But I'll see you guys next time. See ya.